Hello everyone, I'm Arunima from Knit and Otter, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful spiral pattern using Tunisian crochet. It is a very simple technique and you can get some very beautiful designs with color changing yarn. So it could be variegated or it could be gradient yarn, and for this sample here I've made this with Karen Cakes. I think it is the confetti colorway, and it's working up really well. I love the colors on this. I think it's my favorite Karen Cake colorway, and I'm going to write up a pattern for this. I think I'm going to make a rug with this one, and it's still a work in progress, so I have not completed it yet. I'm just adding more rounds to it as we go. So here this is how it's looking right now, so I'm going to add more rows, add more rounds to it, and I will write up a pattern for it once I am done, which you should be able to find on my blog. I have a bunch of free patterns on my blog if you would like to check them out, and I have a lot of tutorials on my YouTube channel, so please subscribe to my channel if you would like to receive notifications for any new videos that I upload in the future. Let's get started. So for this video I'm going to use the Lily Sugar and Cream yarn in 2 colors to show you how this is done, and I have a small sample that I made, and I wanted to show you this first because there's something I wanted to point out. So this is exactly what I'm going to try and make in this tutorial, and so this, if you see, this doesn't really sit flat, and the reason for that is that the number of stitches are slightly less for my tension the way I crochet. All the videos that I've seen so far with this stitch count, it works out well, but for me it did not. So this starts with 8 single crochet stitches in the center, but as you can see, it's not sitting flat. So the sample that I showed you earlier, I started that with a 9 single crochet stitches in the magic ring, and that worked out better for me. So if I'd say that you can choose whichever you want. I would recommend the 9 stitches in the center because that's what worked for me. But if you're make at least 2 rounds and see if your swatch ruffles. If it does, then go down a stitch, start with 8, but if not, then I'd say continue with 9 stitches in the center. So the pattern will not change whether you start with 8 or 9, and you will see how this will be constructed. So the other thing I'm going to do in this video is that with every round I'm going to change color where there is an increase. So with every increase I'm going to change color, so you will see exactly how you have to do your increases and where you have to do them. So let's get started. So I'm going to begin with a magic loop, and I'm going to start with 9 single crochet stitches in this. So I'm using a 6.5 millimeters hook for this, so I recommend going up at least 2 hook sizes for whichever yarn you use. I think this pattern will work out for any yarn, and an appropriate hook with that. So start with 9 single crochet stitches, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm just going to pull this magic loop to a close and make it tight. So I'm going to change color over here so it's easy to see what's going on, and I forgot to do that when I was making the single crochet, so I'm just going to unravel this little bit here, and I'm going to use a contrasting yarn so you can see the stitches more clearly. So here, that's 9 single crochet stitches in that magic loop here. And now you need to start with the spiral. So to start with the spiral, what I do is I usually like to hold this loop here and find this vertical bar from that single crochet stitch, insert my hook here, yarn over, pull through, that's one, and then find that first single crochet and insert my hook there, yarn over, pull through. So that leaves us with 3 loops on the hook, and that's the beginning of our spiral. So to complete this row, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 and yarn over and pull through 2. So that starts the beginning of the spiral, and this is how it's looking. And the reason I have a color change here is because I have we're going to do an increase here. So for every single crochet stitch, we're going to make 3 rows of the spiral, 3 rows of 1 round of the spiral. So this is round 1 of the spiral and the first row. So now for the next row, I'm just going to find that vertical bar here, yarn over, pull through, and then in that same single crochet space, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2 and yarn over, pull through 2. So that was row 2, and then the third row is going to be exactly the same. So that's insert your hook in that first vertical bar, and then insert your hook in that same single crochet stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And I would yarn over, pull through 2 here, but I'm going to change color because I'm going to do an increase in the next one as well. So there you go. So this is how it is looking after making 3 rows of the spiral in round 1. So for the next row, I'm going to insert my hook in this vertical bar, and then I'm also going to insert my hook in this horizontal bar here. That was the join. I feel like this is like making a spiral and joining with the existing stitches using the join as you go method. That's pretty much all it is. So here to increase, I'm going to find this this horizontal bar that was for joining in the previous row, insert my hook there, yarn over, pull through. So in the previous rows, the ones that I made with yellow, there were 3 loops on my hook. And now in this one, I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook in that next single crochet. So there were 3 rows I made joining with this one, and then the next one is this, and I'm going to insert my hook here, yarn over, pull through. So this leaves me with 4 loops on the hook, and then I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. I'm going to make 3 rows, a total of 3 rows in this stitch as well. So this is 1. The next one will be only in the vertical bars. So this is 1 here and 1 here. We're not going to do anything in this horizontal bar here. So the only reason why we insert our hook in that horizontal bar is to increase the number of stitches, because as we go, so just so you can see here, this is the center and this is where we start increasing. So you initially have 3 loops on your hook here, and then you have 4 here, and then 5 here, and then we settle on 6, and then we keep building with 6 stitches. So I have 3 loops here, and the 4th one will be, again, it will be joining in the same place as that previous single crochet, and return pass, and then do the exact same thing again in that same space again. So for every single crochet, there will be 3 rows of the spiral created in round 1. So you'll have a total of 27 rows after you end round 1. So that's, I'm going to now change color again, because here I'm going to increase again. So that's the first stitch, and then 2 simple stitches, and then I'm going to pick up this horizontal bar because I'm going to do an increase, and then find the next single crochet stitch after that previous one, and that's 5 loops on the hook. Then yarn over, pull through 2, all the way to the beginning. And so for the rest of the rows that will be made and that will be joined with the same single crochet stitch, I'm just going to do simple stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4 and 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 and do it again. Yarn over, pull through 2, and I'm going to change color again because we're going to do the exact same thing, because we have to end up with a total of 6 loops on the hook. So here I'm going to make 3 simple stitches, and then I'm going to insert my hook over here, and that's 5, and then find that next single crochet and yarn over, pull through. So that's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So this is the end of increasing. We're not going to increase anymore, so because each spiral row is going to be that width. With a total of 5 loops, 6 loops on the hook, this is what the width is, and this is the width that's maintained throughout the project. So it's 6 loops on the hook. That's what you've got to remember. And now I'm going to just so there will be no more increases in the number of stitches per row, but there will be increases in terms of the number of rows per spiral. So we'll see how that goes. So this one, I'm going to make a simple stitch in each vertical bar and then join in that same single crochet stitch. So I'm going to do a total of 3 of these. I'm going to change color here. You don't really have to change color if you don't want to. I'm doing this only to show you where the increases happen, so it's easy to figure out. And so the next one, I'm going to make simple stitches, and I'm not going to do an increase in that horizontal bar here. So I'm going to just go ahead and join this with the next single crochet stitch and yarn over, pull through 2 and do 2 more rows of this. That's 1. And then another one. So that looks like that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochet stitches. That. I'm going to now make the next. So it's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 4 more to go because there were 9 single crochet stitches in all. So we need to make these rows in all 9 of them. Find that make simple stitches and then find that single crochet and join. Make another row. And another one. And I'm going to change color. And do the exact same thing in the next 3 rows. find that next single crochet, then I'm going to change color again. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this, the next one will be the 8th one. Then change color again here. Again, you don't really have to change color. I'm just showing you where the increases happen by changing color. And that's the last single crochet right there. So this is the end of round 1 in the spiral. There's a total of 27 stitches. So if we count, that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27. So with every round we're going to increase 27 stitches. So that's all you need to remember. I'm going to only make 2 rounds and maybe show you a little bit of the 3rd round in this video, but you just have to remember that with every round you increase 27 stitches. So for round 2 we're not going to because this is a spiral, so we're just going to continue working. So I'm going to make simple stitches just like I was making until now, and because we're maintaining the stitch count, maintaining this width, the stitch count will remain the same. So I'm just going to now insert my hook in that first stitch of the first round. So that's the first one there. And so I didn't do it for this video, but you could actually put a stitch marker here in that previous round first stitch, so you know where to stop and gives you a good sense of where you are in the round, because with the spiral it grows so fast and it's easy to forget where you began. It's also very difficult to find where the beginning is if you've not marked it. So I would do that. I did that with my project where I was using the same yarn and just going in around, but because I'm changing color here, it's easy to find that. If I wasn't, I would have used a stitch marker, and so I recommend doing that. So for now I'm just going to go ahead and make this row, and I'm actually going to mark this one with a stitch marker because moving forward this will be hard to find. So that's the first row of this round. So that, and now in round 2 we're going to make 2 rows in each stitch from the previous round. So that will be, because there were 27 rows here, there will be 27 into 2, that's 54 rows in this round. So that's an increase of 27 stitches, and that's what I was talking about. So you just have to double the number of stitches in this round. So that was the same place as the previous one, so I'm making 2 in this, and then change color because I'm going to do an increase again. So another thing to note here is there's all this yarn which is in the back here. I'm not worrying about it because this is just a sample swatch, but if you were changing color, it would be very easy to hide it, because you just start pulling that and taking care of it while you join. So that would be easy to take care of if you're changing color while making your spirals. So this is just the same. You keep making these rows and join them with the next stitch and make 2 rows in each stitch from the previous round, rows of the previous round. So that's 1 and 2. And there's color change. The next one, again 2 in this, 2 rows in this stitch as well. So I'm going to go all around and make 2 rows in every stitch of that previous round, and I will meet you towards the end of this round. Here I am close to the end of this round in the spiral, so I'm just about 3 or 4 rows away. I'm going to show you how I will end it. So that's some 2 stitches away from my stitch marker. I'm going to make the same rows in those stitches, so 2 rows per stitch from the previous round. And that's the last stitch of that previous round. And I know that that's the last stitch of the previous round because this one was my first of this round, and so I can stop there. So if I were using the same color yarn for making this or gradient yarn, it would be hard to make out where the beginning of that previous round was. But so see, if you can see, this is laying flat, which is great, as opposed to this one, which isn't. So this one I started with 8 stitches in the center and this one with 9, and I think there is a considerable difference. And if if this turns out ruffled for you at this stage, at this point. So I definitely recommend making at least 2 complete rounds before you decide whether you want to go with 8 stitches or 9, because this is when I figured that I did not want to continue with this one. So if I did, my project would never lay flat. But I know with this one, it's very clear that this one is going to lay flat. So this is the end of round 2. I'm quickly going to show you how to start round 3. So for round 3, I'm going to just go ahead and change color over here, because again we're going to do some increases. So if you remember, I said that we have to increase 27 stitches in every round. If you started with 8 stitches here in the center, that would mean that you'd have 24 in the first round, and you have to increase 24. So with 8 stitches, you increase 24 with every round. With 9, you increase 27 with every round. So how you do that is, for every 2 stitches in the previous round, you'd make 3. So I'd do 2 in this first one, and then 1 in this, and then 2 in this, and then 1 in this. So let me just show you how exactly. So basically converting 2 stitches into 3 stitches, and that you'd do 27 times across. So that's 1, and I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch marker here so I don't forget for the next round. And then another row in that same stitch, joined with that same stitch, and then 1 row in the next one. In the next one. Do the same with the next. So I'm changing color here again because I'm going to do an increase again. So there's will be 2 rows that go into the same stitch, that join with that same stitch here. So that's 1, and 2, and then another one, but in the next stitch. So I'd keep going. So you see that 2 stitches here got converted to 3, 2 here is 3. So if you keep going like this, you'd end up with 27 more stitches than this previous round. So I'm going to stop here with the increases because this is just a repetition. So I'll also tell you what to do in the round after this. So after you complete this, after you get to this point here, the next round would be you'd make 2 in this one, and then 1 in this, and 1 this. So the 3 will convert into 4. So 3 stitches will become 4. So 2 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then 2 in this, and then 1 in this, 1 in this, and then the next one would be so this is the second round. For the third round, it's 2 1 1, and then the fourth round would be 2 1 1 1, and then the next one would be 2 1 1 1 1. So it's you increase. So every section. So if I just keep going on top of this, every section will have 1 stitch increase. Every single colored section here. So this will convert to 4, will convert to 5, will convert to 6, and you can keep growing this as much as you want. I'm going to now start decreasing, and for that also I'm going to change color and show you. So what I'm going to do for the decreases is I'm going to follow the same pattern, and so I'm going to go ahead and make 3 rows, but with 1 decrease in the beginning. So I'm going to do 1 2, so and I'm going to do a reverse pass decrease for this. So you make the front pass just like you normally would, and then yarn over and pull through 3 instead of 2. So that is a decrease, and then yarn over, pull through 2 all the way to the beginning. And then for the next row, I'll just make simple stitches, and in this one I'll go under both of those vertical bars from that decrease, yarn over, pull through, and I'm going to maintain what I was doing in this round. So I made 2 stitches here in this, so I'm going to make 2 stitches in that same stitch from that previous round. And this one I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 all the way. So that just made a decrease. So instead of 6 loops on the hook, now I would have 5. And I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to follow what I was doing for this round. So I'm going to make 1 more row in this next stitch, and then I'm going to change color because I'm going to do a decrease again. So just follow, I recommend just following what you're doing in the row, in that round. And you could add more rows if that feels better, but I have seen that if you just follow what's going on in the round and do your decreases, how you were doing the increases in this section here, you just start doing decreases. So I don't know if that makes sense, but in my mind it's just exactly the same as what we were doing over here. We would increase, and then we'd make 2 rows of with maintaining stitch count, and then increase and maintain stitch count. Here I'm doing a decrease and then maintain stitch count, and decrease and maintain stitch count for a couple of rows. So you could do the same. And if I were on a different round, like if I were 3 rounds down, I would make more rows by maintaining that stitch count rather than decreasing right away after 2. So I'd say just follow the pattern that you have on that row, on that round, and go with that. So I'm going to decrease again. By yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 3, and then yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And then this one I make a simple stitch, and then I insert my hook under both the next 2, and then join in that same place. So that leaves 4 loops on my hook, and yarn over, pull through 2. Sorry, I'm going to remove the stitch marker because I'm not going to make more of this. And then another row of the same by maintaining stitch count. And then the next one I'm going to decrease again. So just keep making your simple stitches, join, and then yarn over, pull through 3, and yarn over, pull through 2. And then insert your hook under the next 2 vertical bars, yarn over, pull through, and in that same stitch, and this one is yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and make 1 more in the next stitch. I'm going to decrease again, and this here, and then yarn over, pull through both. And I'm just going to make a slip stitch here. So that closes that spiral, and at this point I could just cut my yarn and fasten off. And this is how it looks. It lays nice and flat, and I think this is a great technique. It is a mindless project. You just have to, well, you'd have to definitely count, otherwise you could make mistakes. But if you're changing color like this, it's very, very easy to see where you are in the project and how many stitches you need to make, because you can clearly see that I have an increase with every stitch. Here I have an increase with every 2 stitches. So it's it's easy to see where you are if you're changing color like this. But if you're not, if you're in a project like, if you're making a project like this one, here I did not change color. I just used the same yarn, and it's a single thread, and I keep making the spiral. So using a stitch marker is extremely important, because I would completely lose track of where I am if I didn't use a stitch marker. And that's pretty much it. And I have to make sure that I keep counting. Forgetting my count would be probably the worst thing in this project, especially as it grows. So it would be also nice if you start writing it down, to be sure that you have the exact round number and row number that you're at, or maybe even how many after how many stitches you want to do an increase, so you can trace back and see where you are exactly. But that's all I had for this tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I hope you will enjoy making your projects with this. There's so many things that you can do with it. This one is gonna be a rug, and my son has already claimed it, so I'm going to continue making this. I think I'm going to add another cake to it. So for right now, it's just so much. It's not much at all. So I'm close to being done with one skein. With one cake. I'm going to add another cake to this and make a slightly bigger rug than this, but cushion covers would be nice. And it's just so very pretty. It looks great, I think. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and you can check out my free patterns on my blog. I'm going to add a link to my blog in the description below, and I used Tunisian simple stitches to make this, and I'm going to add a link to a tutorial that I have for that in the description as well. So feel free to check those out, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.